Welcome back to the Book Digest. Today, we're diving into a powerful summary of a book that might just change how you see, well, everything. Fooled by Randomness by Nassim Nicholas Taleb. And look, this isn't just some dry academic theory. This is a raw look from inside the crazy world of financial trading, and it calls into question the very stories we tell ourselves about why we succeed. Okay, let's jump right in with the big one. I want you to think about your proudest achievements. That big career move, that amazing project you nailed. Was that all you, your hard work, your unique talent? Or were you maybe just in the right place at exactly the right time? This is the core, kind of uncomfortable question this book makes us all ask ourselves. And here it is, Taleb's main argument. Our brains, they're basically story-making machines. We're just hardwired to connect the dots and see patterns, to believe that A caused B. But the truth is, the world we live in is governed by just profound, wild randomness. We see this nice, neat story, but reality? It's more like a chaotic series of coin flips. So to really dig into this, Taleb gives us this character he calls the lucky fool. Now, this is somebody who hits it big, becomes spectacularly successful, all through pure chance. But they are 100% convinced it was because of their own genius. We all know people like this, and if we're being honest, maybe we've even been that person a time or two. Taleb uses this absolutely brilliant metaphor to describe the lucky fool's whole strategy. Just imagine a plan that makes you small, steady, predictable profits day after day. It looks amazing. It feels super safe. But what it's hiding is one single, gigantic, catastrophic risk that can completely wipe you out in the blink of an eye. So what you get are two totally different players in the same game. You've got the nickel picker on one side. This person looks like a rock star, right? They're posting those consistent gains that everybody envies. Their track record looks flawless, right up until the moment it isn't. But on the other side, you've got someone playing a totally different game, the survivor. Yeah, their returns might be kind of lumpy, they might even look foolish for long periods of time. But their entire strategy isn't built for getting the max return. It's built for robustness. It's built to survive that steamroller when it comes. So why are we so easily fooled by all this? Well, Taleb says it's because of these really powerful cognitive traps we all fall into. Let's get into the first and probably the biggest one, our complete inability to see all the failures. This is called survivorship bias. We basically make all our judgments about the world by only looking at the winners, the ones we can see. Why? Because the losers are silent. They're invisible. We study successful CEOs, but we totally ignore the thousands of people who tried the exact same things and failed. And that just fundamentally warps how we see reality. I mean, think about it. Whenever you read a biography of some super successful person, what's the advice they give? It almost always boils down to these things, right? Work hard, never give up, dream big, take some risks. It sounds like the perfect formula for success. But here's the critical question that survivorship bias just stops us from even asking. What if you could go and interview all the people who went bankrupt, whose companies just collapsed into dust? What traits would they have? The shocking answer is they'd have the exact same ones. They also worked hard. They were also incredibly persistent. They also thought big, and they also took risks. The graveyard of failure is absolutely filled with people who had the same qualities as the winners. The only difference, in so many cases, was a single random roll of the dice. Luck. And that brings us to another really powerful mental tool, thinking in terms of alternative histories. See, the one path that actually happened, that's just one out of countless random paths that could have happened. That CEO who made a super risky bet that paid off is called a visionary. But what we don't see are the thousands of other worlds where that very same bet led to total ruin. We mistake one lucky outcome for guaranteed genius. Okay, so how do we navigate all this? Taleb gives us a great framework. He says we need to get that we live in two fundamentally different kinds of worlds, and our intuition, well, it only really works in one of them. So on the left, you've got Mediocristan. This is the team world, the world of the average, where things are pretty predictable. Think about something like human height. If you add one really, really tall person to a room, it doesn't dramatically change the average height of everyone. But on the right, you've got Extremistan. This is the wild, wild west of outliers. Here, one single event, one bestseller book, one stock market crash, one huge fortune can change the entire picture. The average here is completely meaningless. And here's the real kicker. Our human intuition,
which evolved over thousands of years, is perfectly tuned for that tame world of mediocristan. But the things that define our modern lives, finance, technology, our careers, fame, they are all governed by the wild, unpredictable rules of extremistan. We're basically using the wrong map for the territory we live in.
So what are we supposed to do? Are we just doomed to be fooled forever? Well, not entirely. Taleb actually offers a toolkit, a set of mental and practical rules for surviving and maybe even thriving in a world that's so random. First things first, we have to completely rethink what risk even is. Our brains, by default, focus on how often something happens, but Taleb says that's a huge mistake. What really, truly matters isn't the frequency. It's not your batting average, it's the magnitude. It's how much you make when you're right and how much you lose when you're wrong. A strategy that wins 99% of the time but gets totally wiped out on that 1%, that's a terrible strategy because the final payoff is all that matters. Now, the philosophical heart of this toolkit is just a deep, healthy skepticism. Taleb borrows from the philosopher Karl Popper here, and he argues that real knowledge doesn't come from finding more evidence to confirm what we already believe. No, it comes from actively looking for evidence that proves us wrong. Think about it. No amount of good trading days can prove your strategy is safe, but just one catastrophic day can prove it was flawed from the very beginning. This brings us to this profound piece of ancient wisdom from the Greek statesman Solon, and it just perfectly captures the whole book's idea. A great track record, a history of success, it means nothing, because that steamroller could always be lurking just around the corner. True success, he's saying, can only be judged at the very end of the game, after all the risks have played out. And so we end right back where we started, with a question for you to really think about. Look at your own life, your career, your wins. How much of that story is something you carefully built after the fact? Is your success a true testament to your undeniable skill? Or are you, maybe like all of us, just a fortunate character in a much larger and much more random story?